Okay, so I think it's connected. Hi guys. Please say hi when you come in. Or please say hi if you hear me. Okay, so I can see you guys coming in. Hi everyone. Hi. Hello. Thank you for coming to class and welcome in. 환영합니다, 여러분. 환영해요. 수업에 와주셔서 정말 감사합니다. Thank you for coming to class. So today we're going to learn Korean based on one of the BTS's song, The Magic Shop. The Magic Shop, right? I hope you guys checked the lyrics that I posted on my website. And I have always actually liked this song, and it's always been my favorite because of its lyrics. And I think this song really represents or reflects what kind of band BTS is and what they hope to achieve with their music. And as I told you guys beforehand, I have posted both the full lyrics here, and you can find it on my website. And also the parts that we'll cover in class. So it's best for you to print it out so that you can take notes on it while following the class. And I paraphrased a little bit of them to make it easier. So it's not the exact same original lyrics, but I made sure that there's almost no difference in meanings. And I also changed the word order in a grammatically correct form for the same reason, for you to learn it more easily and for me to explain it better. And just to let you know, guys, I am feeling unwell today. I think I kind of have a cold because I walked a full 1 hour yesterday outside, and I think that kind of negatively affected the way I feel. So if in any case I feel like I cannot continue any longer, I will let you guys know about this, okay? But right now I am feeling well. I don't know why, but as soon as I turned on the live, I think I'm feeling more lively than I felt this morning. So please don't worry about it now. And if you're wondering which level you should be to follow this class, so if you've been keeping up with most of my lessons, then this class wouldn't be too far off your current level. But if you have difficulty following everything, you don't have to stretch yourself too much. You can just take away what you do understand and drop the parts that you don't. And you can also check the review note of this class that will be up after the class is finished. And you can come back to the parts that you didn't quite get during class. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so this is the parts of the lyrics that we'll cover. And starting from the first sentence. 망설이는 걸 알아. 망설이는 걸 알아. So to break down this sentence, it's a combination of 망설이다, 는 거를 알아. And we learned that 거를 can be abbreviated to 걸, right? So the verb is placed at the very last part of Korean sentences, right? So verb is here, 알아, which means know, right? I know. 알아, I know. It's a present tense verb of 알다, which means to know, right? 알아. So what do I know? This one. 를 is an object, right? So obviously, these whole things are the object of what I know, right? So I know this. 망설이다 combined with 는 거. So actually, this is the grammar that we learned in one of the previous classes, and we actually did a 2-hour-long live class on how to change verb into a noun. And one of those expressions is 는 거. And I am not going to go in detail with this, so if you have forgotten about it or if you don't know this grammar yet, you can go back to that lesson to learn more about it. I actually linked it in the description box, so you can check it after this class. So basically, with this expression, you combine a verb to make the verb in a noun form. So 망설이다. 망설이다 is a verb that means to hesitate. It means to hesitate. And 망설이는 거 means, so the verb has changed into a noun. So here it means, so to be more accurate with the sentence, let's put the subject. 네가, you hesitate. You hesitate becomes a noun, then it's closest in meaning to the fact that you hesitate. So I know the fact that you are hesitating. I know that you're hesitant. 네가 망설이는 걸 알아. And just in case you're wondering, let's go over a little bit of subject marking particle lesson. So we learned that subjects are removable when in the context it's obvious, right? So it means I know that you are hesitating. So you don't have to write the subject, but if you do want to write the subject, you can go with 나는 and 네가. And you can check that the subject marking particle used for each subject is different. Do you remember why? So we actually learned about this already in our subject marking particle class, the difference between 은는 and 이가, right? I've been requested a lot to do a follow-up session or a practice session of subject marking particle because this is one of the hardest grammars or the most confusing grammars in Korean. But we learned that when it comes to a sentence that has a main sentence and sub-sentence, like this. So to translate this in English, I know that you hesitate, right? So in this English sentence, what is the main subject and what is the main subject and the minor subject? So the center of the sentence is that I know, right? I know this. So I is the main sentence. And you hesitate is the sub-sentence that provides more detail to the main sentence, right? And in this sentence, in the sub-sentence, there is the subject you. So it becomes a minor subject. So when there are two subjects in a sentence, and one is the main subject and the other is the minor subject, you put 은 or 는 to mark the main subject, and 이 or 가 to mark the minor subject, remember? So that's why for I, you mark it with 는, and for you mark it with 가. So 나는 네가 망설이는 걸 알아. I know that you're being hesitant. I know that you're hesitant. And moving on to the next sentence. 진심을 말해도 결국 진심을 말해도, let me aim it better. 결국 다 상처들로 돌아오니까. So starting with the first one. 진심을 말해도. So 진심 means the truth. Or to be more exact, it means your true feeling. True feeling. So 심 here is a Sino-Korean word that comes from this Chinese character, which means mind or your heart. So 심 is used often in words that describes your feelings. And 진 is also a Sino-Korean word that comes from this word, 진, which means real. So it means real feeling, my true feeling. 진심을 말해도 is a combination of 말하다, which means to speak, and the conjunction 그래도, right? So when they combine, you have to conjugate 말하다 in present form and combine that with 도. So it becomes 말해도, and this has a meaning of even if. So even if I speak my truth, even if I share my true feeling, 결국, eventually, 결국 means eventually, everything, 상처들로 돌아오니까, 돌아오니까. So 로 here can be translated to as. And 로 has lots of other usages, and we already learned this in 으로's usage lesson, right? I haven't linked it in the description box yet, but after we're done with the class, I will make sure to do it. So this means as 상처들. So 상처 means, so its first meaning, it's literally the wounds, the physical wounds or scars. And the second meaning is the emotional wound. So here, I think it's more close to the emotional wound. And 들 is a plural making particle, right? So 상처들 becomes a plural form, wound. So eventually everything as wounds 돌아오니까. This is a combination of 돌아오다 and the conjunction 그러니까. We learned about this, right? And we also learned the difference between 그러니까 and 그래서 usage. They're both conjunctions that are used when you're indicating a reason. So this means so. But we learned that there are different usages between these two, right? So you can go back to that lesson if you'd like to know more. So, and 돌아오다. Can you guys guess what 돌아오다 means? Somya. Yes, it means to come back. So 오다 we learned means to come. And when you put 돌아 before verb, it becomes a meaning of back. So come, back is the meaning. There is actually another word with 돌아 in the lyrics, which is 돌아보다, and we're going to get to it. This is in the last page. So we're going to get to it later in this lesson. But 돌아오다 means to come back. Where is it? 돌아오다 means to come back. So it means even if I speak my truth, everything eventually comes back as scars. And those are the reasons why you're hesitating, right? 상처들로 돌아오니까. 뻔한 말은 하지 않을 거야. So we learned that verbs are always placed at the last part, right? And since verbs are usually the center in meaning of the sentence, it's best if you are not quite used to Korean sentences, it's best to check the last part of the sentence to figure out where the sentence is going. So, 지 않을 거야. So we learned that when you negate a verb, you take out the stem of the verb and put 지 않다, right? So 지 않다 means to not do the verb, right? And 지 않다 combined with 을 거야. We learned that by putting 리을 받침 or 을 거야, it's conjugated. The verb is conjugated in future tense. So it means I will not do the verb. I will not. 하다 means to do. But if you look at the first part, it says 말하다. And we learned that 말하다 means to speak, right? Means to speak. Or you can always separate 말 and 하다 and say 말을 하다, right? 말을 하다. However, if you look at this sentence, the particle is not 을. It's supposed to be object marking particle, but why is the subject marking particle 은 used here? So 뻔한 말을 하지 않을 거야 is a correct way, but in the context, in this lyrics, in this song, 은 is actually possible to be put here because of the following reason. So we actually also learned this in our particle lesson as well, that you can use 는 and 은 particle when in the context, if the context has the contrast. The context has contrast, you can put 는 or 은. So this particle implies contrast contrast in the context. Sorry about the pronunciation. So the context goes like this. I won't do this. I won't say this, but instead I will say this. 내 얘기. 내 얘기를 is an abbreviated form of 얘기를. So 내 얘기 means my story. So I won't say 뻔한 말, but instead, this particle implies contrast. Instead, I will say my story. I will tell my story. So in this kind of context, you can use 은 and 는 particle. And 뻔한 말. 뻔한 말. You might be wondering what 뻔한 말 is. And I actually have mentioned this in one of my lessons that to be 뻔하다. 뻔하다. It's an adjective. Yeah, it's an adjective that means to be obvious or to be predictable and kind of cheesy and lame. So it's an adjective that has negative connotation. So if you say a joke is 뻔하다 and say 뻔한 농담, 뻔한 농담, it means a joke is very predictable and obvious, so it's not fun. 뻔한 농담. And when you say 뻔한 말, it refers to words that are kind of obvious and kind of, that has that doesn't really help people, but it's nice. It's nicely sugar-coated, but it's not, it doesn't have a good content in it. Do you know what I mean? So I won't say those obvious words. And instead, 난 is the abbreviation of 나는, right? But instead, I will, 내 얘기, we learned that it means my story. My story를, object, right? 들려줄게. So here appears the auxiliary verb that we learned, which is 들리다, combined with the auxiliary verb 주다. We learned about what meanings it adds to the verb, right? Usually when doing that verb helps the other people, helps the other person, or is a kind act, we usually use 주다, auxiliary verb, right? And 들리다. Do you guys remember what 들리다 means? 들리다. 듣다. 듣다 means to listen. And 들리다, we learned, means it's a passive verb, right? So it means to hear, to listen, 듣다, whereas 들리다 means to be heard. So something is heard, right? So when you say 들리다 combined with 주다 and becomes 들려주다, it becomes a meaning of I will make it heard for you. I will make it heard for you. So I will make my story be heard for you. So you can easily translate it as tell. 들려줄게. I will tell you my story. And you can also say 말해줄게. 말해주다 is basically the same thing with 들려주다. I will tell you, I will make it heard to you. So both mean tell. 나는 내 얘기를 들려줄게. I will tell you my story. And next one. 내가 뭘 했어? So 뭘 했어 is an abbreviated form of 뭐라고 했어. So 라고 했어 is abbreviated to 됐어. And this is actually a very important expression. So when you say, noun, 라고 하다, it's an expression of quotation. So it means say that someone said or someone say noun. So here, 뭐라고 했어? So here, okay, let me break it down. So 라고 했어, we learned that learned is a quotation expression. So 라고 하다 conjugated in past form is 했어. So 라고 했어 means said this, right? Said this. And 뭐 means what, right? So, what did I say? 내가 뭘 했어? What did I say? 내가 뭐라고 했어? What did I say? 내가 뭘 했어? What did I say? And next one. 이길 거랬잖아. 이길 거랬잖아. And this is also an abbreviated form of 거라고 했잖아. 거라고 했잖아. If you think the abbreviated form is too complicated, then you don't have to remember the abbreviated form. You can just go with the correct form, the grammatically correct one. 뭐라고 했어? Or 거라고 했잖아. It's better to get used to the correct form first before you move on to like the colloquial expressions, because that way you'll get to understand why it's colloquially changed this way. So we'll just go with the correct form. So 이길 거라고 했잖아. 라고 했잖아. 라고 하다, we learn, means quotation expression, right? Say, someone said. 라고 하다, conjugated in past form, right? 했다, combined with the sentence ending 잖아. 잖아. And 잖아 is actually a really common sentence ending that adds a meaning of, so the speaker, both the speaker and the listener know this fact, know what I'm saying. So, for example, you can say, 나 저녁 먹었잖아. 나 저녁 먹었잖아. 나 저녁 먹었잖아. Dinner, ate. So I ate the dinner, right? I ate dinner. And by putting 잖아, it implies that you and I both know that I ate dinner. So you and I both know that I said, 거라고 했잖아. I said, 이길 거라고 했잖아. So here as well, 거 expression is used. And again, this is a form used when you are changing a verb into a noun. So like I told you guys, you can find the 2-hour-long lesson on 거 in the description box, so you can check it after this lesson. And 이길 거 is a combination of 이기다 combined with, this is the future tense, and 거. So 이기다 means to win. And by combining it with 리을 or 을, if the stem ends in 받침, it should be 을. But since 이기 has no 받침, you can easily put 리을 for future tense suffix. So 이길 거. So 이길 means will win. And by combining it with 거, will win becomes a noun. So 이길 거 means fact that we will win. Fact that we will win, or that we will win. So I said that we will win. I said that we will win. 이길 거랬잖아. I said that we will win. What did I say? I said that we will win, right? We and I both know that. 이길 거랬잖아. And next ones. 정말 이길 수 있을까? 믿지 못했어. 정말 이길 수 있을까? 믿지 못했어. Let's look at 믿지 못했어 first. So we just learned that verb changed to 지 않다 is a negation of the verb, right? Verb 지 않다 is a negation, so it means not verb. But if you say verb 지 못하다, verb 지 못하다, it means cannot verb. So 못 is usually put before a verb when you indicate lack of ability to do something. It could be situationally, or it could be the lack of ability on your side. So whatever that is, it means cannot. So 믿지 못하다, 믿지 못하다. It's a combination of 믿다 믿지 못하다. And 믿다, we learn, means to believe, right? So, cannot believe. 믿지 못하다 means to cannot believe. And 믿지 못하다 is conjugated in present form. Past form, right? So it means could not believe. I could not believe it back then. 믿지 못했어. What did he not believe? 정말 이길 수 있을까? 정말 이길 수 있을까? Really, right? 정말 이길 수 있을까? And here is another expression that indicates the ability. 을 수 있다. Do you guys remember? When a verb is combined with 리을 받침 or 을 수 있다, it also means the ability to do something, right? So to be able to do the verb, can do the verb, right? So 이기다, we learn, means to win. So it means 이길 with 리을 받침, right? Because 이기 doesn't have 받침, so you can go with 리을 instead of 을. So 이길 수 있다 means to be able to win, can win. And here, 을까 is combined with this verb, right? 을까. And 을까 is a common sentence ending that we also learned. So when you say verb, 리을 받침 or 을까, it's a question that you ask to yourself. So you're wondering if you can do verb. If you're wondering it to yourself, right? Whether it's verb or not. So 이길 수 있을까 means will I be able to win? Will I be able to win? You're asking a question to yourself, right? 정말 이길 수 있을까? Will I really be able to win? 믿지 못했어. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Next one. 이 기적을, oh, sorry about the ink, guys. It makes the sentence less visible. But let me read it out for you. 이 기적을 우리가 만든 걸까? 이 기적을 우리가 만든 걸까? So someone said learning is hard. Yes, actually BTS songs are I actually have mentioned this in one of my comments that BTS songs are hard to do lessons with because I'm not saying that other songs are easy. Other songs are hard as well, but BTS songs are quite deep and they use a lot of advanced expressions that are not easy to explain. Also, even as a teacher, so I understand that it can be hard, but I will try my best to make it easy for you. But if it's still hard, then hopefully the review note that I post afterwards will be of help to you. So 이 기적을 우리가 만든 걸까? Actually, let's change this sentence to 이 기적을 우리가 만들었을까? So there's a slight change in the verb part and how the sentence ends. So the original is 만든 걸까, but I slightly changed it to 만들었을까 to make it easier for you guys. So 이 기적, this 기적. 기적 means miracle. It's one of the most beautiful words. 이 기적을, this miracle, 을 indicates that this is an object. 우리가, and 우리 is a subject, right? We, this miracle, 만들었을까? And 을까, question is also used. So this is a question that they are wondering to themselves. And 만들다, we learn means to make, right? And 만들었다 is a past tense, right? So made, 을까? Did we make this miracle? 이 기적을 우리가 만들었을까? Did we make this miracle? 이 기적을 우리가 만들었을까? And the next one. 나의 절망 끝에 결국 내가 널 찾았음. 을 잊지 마. So let's look at the last part first. 을 잊지 마, 잊지 마. So 잊다 means to forget. To forget. Okay, let's zoom it in a little. It's really hard to like aim because of how my tripod is structured. I wish I could show you guys how it's structured to like let you understand better, but yeah, it's kind of hard for me to aim, so please understand if I don't aim it right sometimes. So 잊다 means to forget, and 지마 we learned by combining 지마 with verb, it has a meaning of don't do that. It's commanding someone not to do that verb. So don't forget, 잊지 마, don't forget, and the preceding sentences are all an object because they are marked with the object marking particle, right? 을 잊지 마. So what do they want you to not forget? 잊지 마, what? 나의 절망 끝에, 나의 절망. 나의 means my, right? My, 절망 means despair. Despair. And the opposite, and a word with opposite meaning is 희망. 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 So 절 is a Sino-Korean word that means to cut. So 절망 means your hope has been cut. So it becomes an opposite meaning of hope, despair. So my despair 끝. 끝 means end. And 에 is a place marking particle, right? So at the end of my despair, 결국, eventually, 내가 널 찾았어. 내가 널 찾았어. Let's forget about this here for a second. And 내가 널 찾았어. 널 is an abbreviation of 너를. So 내가 너를 you 찾았어. 찾다 we learned means to find, right? Or to look for. It has both of these meanings, right? But here it means find. So 찾다's past form, 찾았다. So I found you. And then at the end of the sentence, you can see And this is actually not what we have learned in my lessons. But let me briefly give you an explanation. So when you put 미음, 받침, or after a verb, this is also another way to make the verb into a noun. So we learned 는 거 is one way to change verb into a noun, and putting 미음 받침 and is also another way. However, they are not always interchangeable, so make sure not to use 미음 and when you're not sure if it's a correct usage, okay? Because this one is way more commonly used. Anyways, by putting it makes this whole sentence or this verb into a noun, right? So the fact that I found you eventually at the end of my despair, that fact, don't forget. So don't forget the fact that I have eventually found you at the end of my despair. So very deep, right? And next part. 넌 is an abbreviated form of 너는. 넌 절벽 끝에 서 있던 내 마지막 이유야. 내 마지막 이유야. So 내 is an abbreviated form of 나의. So to break down this sentence, it should go like this. So 너는, so let's come back to it. But let's do this part first. 너는 내 마지막 이유야. So 야 here comes from 이다 verb, right? So is, be verb. So you are my 마지막, last 이유, reason. You're my last reason. And this modifier, you can know that this is a modifier by the suffix 던, right? We learned this suffix in BLACKPINK You Never Know lyrics lesson, right? So 던 is placed after a verb stem when you want to change the verb into a modifier of a noun. But the difference between 는 suffix is that 던 makes the modifier in present form. Past form. Past form, right? And 는 is the present form. We already learned this in our BLACKPINK You Never Know lyrics lesson. So 던 is a past modifier of 나. You are the last reason of me, and this modifier gives more detail to me. So me, that I used to be. So what was I like in the past? 절벽 끝에 서 있다. 절벽 끝에. 절벽 means cliff, and 끝, we learned, means end. And this is a place marking particle. At the end of the cliff, 서 있던, 서 있다. So, 서 있다 is a combination of the verb 서다, which means to stand, and 앉아 있다 is a combination of 앉다, which means to sit. And we learned that with certain verbs, when you conjugate them in present tense and just put 있다, it becomes a meaning of to remain doing the verb. To remain doing the verb. And another example, 켜 있다. To remain that way. So it means to remain standing. Standing. To remain seated. Seated. And 켜다 means to turn on. So it means something's staying on. Something's on. It's in the state of being on, right? 켜 있다. So you can make expressions like this with certain verbs. Not all verbs work this way, but with certain verbs like 서다, stand, 앉다, sit, and 켜다, to turn on. So me that was standing, right? Me that was standing at the end of the cliff, that kind of means last reason. So you're my last reason that used to be standing at the end of the cliff. And next it says live. So this song is basically giving the message out to their fans that they have given hopes to them. So they were in the same situation as you guys. You guys might be in despair. You guys might want to, give up on your life. However, you guys are the ones that gave me hope, right? So we want to give the hopes back to you. So please don't give up on it, because you guys are the reason that I am living, and I want you guys to live as well. So this is a very deep song, deep and a very touching, inspiring song, right? Okay, and next one. 내가 나인 게 싫은 날, 영영 사라지고 싶은 날. Okay. So 내가 나인 게 싫은 날, 영영 사라지고 싶은 날. Okay. 날 here means day. It means day. And we learned the difference between 날 and 하루, right? So 하루 means the general day of 24 hours, whereas 날 is used when you mean day as in like a specific day. So when there is a description of the day, you usually go with 날 and not 하루, right? 하루 means a general day. 날 means a specific day. So which kind of day? 내가 나인 게 싫은 날. Okay, so let me make this more easier for you. Let's say 내 자신이 싫은 날. 내 자신이 싫은 날. Let's go with this one. So 자신 means oneself. 자신, oneself. So if you guys happen to be a Chinese speaker, or if you know some Chinese, the corresponding word is 自己. So 자신이 싫은 날. 자신이 싫다. 내 자신이 싫다. We learned that this is a verb that means don't like noun, right? So don't like oneself. 내 자신이 싫다 means myself, I don't like. So 내 자신 means myself and 너 자신 means yourself. But 내 자신, myself. So the day when you hate myself. The day when I hate myself. And 은 here is a suffix when an adjective becomes a modifier, right? Do you guys remember? You either put 니은 받침 or 은, depending on what the stem looks like, right? But I just told you guys that 이 싫다 is it's a verb, right? Then why don't you put 는? So 이 싫다 has a meaning of verb, but grammatically speaking, it's treated like an adjective. So that's why when you put a modifier after it, you should put 은. 이 싫다, 싫은. So 내 자신이 싫은 날, the day when I don't like myself. And also, what kind of day? 고 싶은 날, 고 싶은 날. So 고 싶다, we learned, means to want to verb, right? To want to verb. And the verb is 사라지다. 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 So 사라지 means disappear. 고 싶다. Want to disappear. Want to disappear. And it became a modifier by putting 은. So 고 싶다 as well. This has a meaning of verb, right? So it means to want. And to want is a verb. But grammatically speaking, 고 싶다, 싶다 is treated like an adjective. So you have to go with 은 if you want to make it a modifier. So this is something that you need to note separately. 싫은, not 싫는, and 싶은, not 싶는. So 사라지고 싶은 날, the day that I want to disappear, 영영, 영영. So 영 means 영원히, 영원히, which means forever. So the day when I don't like myself and the day when I want to disappear forever, in those days, 너의 마음속에 문을 하나 만들자. 문을 하나 만들자. So 너의 마음, right? 마음 속에. So we learned 속에, right? 속에. It means inside. Inside your 마음. 마음. So 마음 means mind or heart. So inside your heart, 문을 하나 만들자. So 만들자, it's a verb combined with 자. And we learned that this means suggestion. Let's verb, right? Let's verb. And 지마 means don't verb, right? Let's make a door. 문을 하나, one door. Let's make one door. Or you can say 문을 한 개 만들자 with 개 counter. We learned that 개 is used when you are counting things, right? So 문을 한 개 만들자 or 문을 하나 만들자. Both are correct. 문을 하나 만들자 inside your mind. Let's make a door inside your mind on the days when you feel like you don't like yourself or you want to disappear forever. 그 문을 열고 들어가면 이곳이 기다릴 거야. Okay, so 그 문, that door, 그 문을 열다. So 문을 열다 means to open the door, and 문을 닫다 means to close the door. So 고 is a conjunction that comes from 그리고, which means and, right? So open that door and 들어가면 면 is another conjunction that comes from 그러면, which basically means if, right? So 들어가면, if you open that door and 들어가다. So 가다 means to go and 들어가다 means to go inside. So 들어가다 means to enter. 들어가다. So if you open that door and enter, if you go inside, 이곳, 곳 is a very common noun that means place, right? This place, 이곳이 기다리다, wait, right? And future tense, right? Will wait. So this place will be waiting. So if you open that door that you made inside your heart, if you open that door and go in, this place will be waiting. This place will be waiting. 믿어도 괜찮아. So this is another common phrase that Korean people use. So when you say, so we all know what 괜찮아 means, right? It comes from 괜찮다, which means to be okay. And when you say verb 도, that's actually present verb. 도 괜찮아. So 도 we learned is a conjunction that means even if, right? But here it doesn't quite mean even if. It just can be naturally translated as it's okay to do verb. It's okay if you do verb. So 믿다, 믿어 is a present form of 믿다, which means to believe, right? So 믿어도 괜찮아 means it's okay to believe. It's okay to believe. 믿어도 괜찮아. You go with the conjunction 도, but this doesn't necessarily mean even if here. It just means it's okay to believe. 믿어도 괜찮아. 널 위로해줄 magic shop. So magic shop is the place that will be waiting for you. That's what they're saying. So 널 is a combination of 너를. So you're the one that is the object of the verb, which is 위로하다. 위로해줄 is firstly 위로하다 combined with the auxiliary verb 주다 combined with the future modifier 리을 받침. So 위로 is a word that will appear again in the last part of the lyric. 위로 means comfort, like consolation, solace. And 위로하다 means to give someone a solace, to consolidate, to give consolidation to someone, to comfort someone. And 주다, we learned, is an auxiliary verb that means you do that action to help the other person, right? And 리을 is added after a verb stem when you want to make it in a future modifier. So 위로하다 conjugated in present form is 위로해, and 위로해주다 combined with 리을 받침 becomes the meaning of that will give you comfort. So the magic shop that will give you comfort. It's okay to believe the magic shop that will give you comfort. So the correct word order would be this part coming to the front, right? Because this is the object and this is the verb, right? But that's how it's placed in the lyrics, in the original lyrics. And next one, 넌 괜찮을 거야. So I don't think we need to break this down. 넌 괜찮을 거야. Can you guys guess what this means? 넌 괜찮을 거야. 넌 괜찮을 거야. 괜찮다. We learn means to be okay. And this is the future form. So you will be okay. 넌 괜찮을 거야. 넌 괜찮을 거야. Okay. So I hope you guys are following me okay. Please let me know how you feel about this lesson in the comment section, in the live chat, guys. Okay, so I think there is a bit of a delay between you guys and me, right? So the streaming is, I think, like 5 seconds behind you guys. So I get very good. I'm really enjoying it. It's a good lesson. It's great. Thank you so much. 너무 좋다. This is great for my level, actually. Okay. So, I'm really glad that you guys are taking it well, because I was kind of worried that it would be like too difficult, even if I paraphrased it and make it easier. But I'm really glad. So Thank you guys so much for enjoying this, and I'm really glad. And thank you for staying. And we have just a few, not a few. We still have a lot left, but not that many, right? So I think we can finish it today. So let's move on to the next part. So 아름다운 그 순간처럼. So this sentence is kind of long. So let's break it down first. 아름다운 그 순간처럼 항상 최고가 되고 싶어서 조급했고 늘 초조했어. So 아름다운 is a very common word in my lessons, right? It comes from the adjective 아름답다, and 아름다운 is a modifier form of 아름답다, right? And it means to be beautiful. So 아름다운 means beautiful. That 순간, moment. And 처럼 is a particle that means just like. Just like. Oh, so just in case you guys are confused, I use a lot of grammar terms. I inevitably have to use a lot of grammar terms because we're learning a language, right? So when I say particle and when I say conjunction, they mean different things. So particle is placed after a noun. Particle is placed after a noun, and conjunction is placed after a verb. So they are different things. So 처럼 is a particle that is placed after a noun. That means just like. So just like that beautiful moment. 아름다운 그 순간처럼, just like that beautiful moment. 항상, always 최고가 되고 싶어서 고 싶다 means to want to, right? To want to. And 어서 obviously is a conjunction that comes from 그래서, which states the reason, right? So it means so. So I want to 되다. I want to 되다. So when you say noun 이 or 가 되다, this is a verb that means to become a noun. So I want to become what? Become what? 최고. I want to become 최고. 최고 means the best. It's a noun that means the best in Korean. 최고. 항상 means always. So it means just like that beautiful moment, I always wanted to be the best. I always wanted to be the best. So 조급했고 늘 초조했어. 조급했고, we can see that they are all in past form, right? So I was 조급하다. It's a difficult word, but it's worth remembering. So 조급하다 means to be hasty, to be impatient. And so it's conjugated in past form, so it means so I was hasty, I was impatient, and right? And 늘 means 항상, always. 초조했어. 초조했어 comes from 초조하다. 초조하다, which means to be anxious. To be anxious. So just like that beautiful moment, I always wanted to be the best. So I was always impatient and anxious. It's what it means. And to break down 최고 briefly, 최고 guys. 최고 is a Sino-Korean word that comes from Chinese characters. And when I say Sino-Korean word, guys, so I noticed that some of you guys are confused with the term Sino-Korean word. So Sino-Korean words are basically the Korean words that come from Chinese characters. And that doesn't mean its usage is the exact same as in Chinese language. It's just that we borrow the language and make it a Korean pronunciation. So knowing Sino-Korean words doesn't really have much to do with learning Chinese. So you don't have to worry too much about it. Like, I don't know Chinese, but can I learn Sino-Korean words? It's actually not, it doesn't matter that much. But also what you need to note is that Sino-Korean words cannot be used independently. It cannot be used independently. So we just learned that 최고 means the best, and it comes from the Chinese character 最, which means like the most. And 고 comes from 高, which means high. So literally, 최고 means the highest. But 고, even if 고 means high, you shouldn't say 고 independently when you mean high. Like if you say the building is high, you cannot say building means building. building이 고. You cannot say it like this. You have to say it in proper Korean word. 높아요. building이 높아요. This means the building is high, but Sino-Korean words are used with in the mixture of other Sino-Korean words. So there are patterns and there are certain words that include Sino-Korean words. So you shouldn't use it independently. So that's the difference between Sino-Korean words and pure Korean words. I noticed that some of you guys are kind of confused with that, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned this. So yes, 최고 means the best, but it can also literally mean the highest. So when you say 최고 온도, it is used to mean 온도 is temperature. So 최고 온도 means the highest temperature. And when you say 최고 점수, it means the highest score. Christina, could you not spam the live chat window? And if you have any questions, right now I cannot really answer them for you. I'm sorry because I have to focus in class. But after I'm done with all the lyrics, after I'm done with all the class today, I'll give you like 5 minutes to ask away some of the questions, and I will answer them for you. But let's focus on the lyrics here. So 남들과 비교는 일상이 돼버렸고 무기였던 내 욕심은 목줄이 됐어. And this is also a really long sentence, right? So cool. You can know that it's a conjunction that means 그리고 and, right? So it connects these two sentences. 남들과 비교. So 비교 means comparison. 비교 means comparison, and 비교하다 becomes a verb that means to compare, and 비교 means comparison. It's a noun. 비교, comparison with 남들. 남들 means other people, others. So when you say 나, it means me, I, right? And when you say 남, it means other person, another person that is not me. So 남, other person, 남들, it becomes a plural, right? 남들, others. So comparison with others is the subject of the sentence. Comparison with others, 일상이 돼버렸고. So to break down 일상이 돼버렸고, we just learned that when we say noun, 이 or 가, 되다, it means to become that noun, right? And 일상 means everyday life, daily life. So become a daily life, and 버리다. Do you guys remember the auxiliary verb, 버리다? So in this case, 돼 has to be conjugated in present tense. So that's how it became 돼버리다. Do you guys remember the auxiliary verb, 버리다? We learned it in BLACKPINK You Never Know lesson. It means to end up doing that verb. So comparison with others ended up, since it's conjugated in past form, ended up becoming a daily life. So I compare myself with other people every day. So that's how you paraphrase it. 남들과 비교는 일상이 돼버렸고, and it ended up becoming my daily life. And 무기였던 내 욕심은 내 목줄이 됐어. 무기였던 내 욕심은 내 목줄이 됐어. In this sentence, this is the subject. 무기였던 내 욕심. And here you can check that 던 is used for modifying suffix, right? So this one is the past modifier, and it modifies 내 욕심. 내 욕심 means my greed. 욕심 means my greed. 욕심. So 욕심, best translation is greed. But 욕심 doesn't always have the negative connotation. 욕심 can also mean your, your ambition. It can also mean your ambition. So I think here 욕심 is more close to ambition. And do you guys remember 심, the Sino-Korean word 심, that it comes from the Chinese word that means mind or heart. So we learned that 심 is many times used in words that describes emotion, what happens inside your mind, right? So 욕심 here means ambition, but it usually means greed. So I wanted to tell you that 욕심 doesn't always have the negative connotation. So my ambition, that was my weapon. That was my weapon. So 무기 means weapon, and 무기이다. 이다 is a be verb, right? So it means is a weapon, and 이다 is conjugated in past form. So was weapon. So my ambition, that was my weapon. That is the subject, right? My ambition, that was my weapon, became, right? We just learned that 이 or 가 되다 means to become a noun, right? And 됐어 is 되다's present form. Oh, sorry for my terrible handwriting. It should be written this way, 되다. So became my 목줄. Became my 목줄. 목줄 means leash. And to break this word down, 목 means neck, and 줄 means a rope or string. So 목줄 is kind of a rope that you hang around your neck, that you put around your neck. So 목줄 means leash. So the ambition, that was my weapon, became my leash. So it ended up suffocating me. That's the meaning of this. And next one. 부승관. For suicide, no, I don't think so. I don't think she means 목줄 as in suicide, but I think they meant leash as in like something that suffocates them. They had too many ambitions, so it ended up working against them. I think that's how I interpreted 목줄. I don't know, but it's just my interpretation. It could be interpreted differently depending on individuals. And next ones. 그런데 말야. 돌이켜보면 사실은 말야. So this is a colloquial expression that takes a lot of time to break down. So what I recommend for you guys is to just remember this phrase all together. So 말야 is a abbreviated form of 말이야. And 그런데 말야 is often used when you're about to say something that contrasts what you just said, or what you're about to say something that is out of the blue. But here, it's in the context of contrast. So this is how I used to be. This is how I used to be. But 그런데 말야, it implies that you're about to say something that's different. I used to be that way, but 그런데 말야, I'm about to say something different. 돌아보면 사실은 말야. So 사실 means fact. So you can say 사실은 when you're about to start a sentence that corresponds to in fact. So 사실은 너 좋아해. 사실은 너 좋아해. Actually, I like you. You can use it like that. But when you can actually use this expression as well. 사실은 말야. When you're about to say something that is the fact, that is true. So 그런데 말야. 사실은 말야. Actually, and here 돌아보면 is used. 돌아보면. So, do you guys remember what the verb means when 돌아 is placed before it? So, do you guys remember 돌아오다? What 돌아오다 meant? 돌아오다. We did it here. 돌아오다. 상처들로 돌아오다 meant to come back, right? To come back by putting 돌아, it has a meaning of back, right? So, 돌아보다 also means look back. So, 면 conjunction is used, which means if, right? So, yes, you guys are right. Ashita, yes. I'm not sure if I pronounce your name correctly, but Ashita is right. If I look back, 돌아보면, if I look back, actually, 사실은 말야. So I'm about to say the truth. 최고가 되고 싶었던 게 아닌 것 같아. 최고가 되고 싶었던 게 아닌 것 같아. So K is an abbreviated form of 것이. So 싶었던 것이 아닌 것 같아. And 아닌 것 같아. So 것 같아, we learned, is an expression when we express our opinion, right? So it means I think. 아닌 것 같아. It's a combination of 아니다, which means to not be true. 아니다, 아니 combined with 것 같아요 expression. So I think it's not true. I think it's not true. So what is not true? This is not true. 최고가 되고 싶었던 게 아닌 것 같아. Or 최고가 되다, we learn, means to become the best, right? And 최고가 되고 싶다 means to want to become the best, right? And 싶었던, 던 is a suffix that you put when you want to make the verb or also an adjective into a modifier, into a past modifier, right? So you can just say 싶던. 싶던 is also okay, right? But you can conjugate it once again in past form and say 싶었던. Both are okay. So 최고가 되고 싶었던 것. So the fact that I wanted to become the best is not true. So it is not true that I wanted to become the best if I look back. 위로와 감동이 되고 싶었었던 나. Sorry guys. 싶었었던, let's change it to 싶었던. 위로와 감동이 되고 싶. So I think we can now understand what this means, right? 위로와, if you guys can see how it's written. 위로와 감동이 되고 싶다. It means to want to become, right? Want to become. 위로. Do you guys remember what 위로 means? 위로. We learned it, right? 위로. Where is 위로? 위로, where was it? Where was it? How come I cannot find it? I'm pretty sure we did this. 위로하다. Where is it? I'm pretty sure it was there somewhere. Okay, so you guys remember comfort. Yes, comfort, emotional comfort, right? Consolidation, solace. Do you guys remember which part it was? I'm kind of obsessed with it. I need to find it. Where was it? It's so weird. I know that it was there. Last stanza on first page. Last stanza on first page. Sorry guys, I cannot find it. I'll try to find it after class. Sorry about it. Sorry about the delay. It wasn't that important, but it's important that you guys remember what 위로 is, right? And you guys are doing a good job remembering it. It means emotional comfort, consolidation. So 위로와 emotional comfort and 감동이 되고 싶었던 나. So me that wanted to become consolidation and 감동. And I don't know if you guys remember 감동 from one of my lessons. It comes from 감동. So 감동 literally means movement of your feeling. So it means to touch someone's feeling, the movement of someone's feeling. And 감동 is used as a noun. And 감동하다 is a verb that means to be touched or to be inspired. But 감동 itself means, let's just easily translate it to inspiration. So I want it to become a consolidation and inspiration to other people. And next one. 그대의 슬픔, 아픔 걷어가고 싶어. 그대의 슬픔, 아픔 걷어가고 싶어. So it means he wants to do something, right? He wants to 걷어가다. So this is a very advanced expression. I should have paraphrased it, but it doesn't hurt to know, right? So 거두다 means to reap. Is to reap. And 거둬 is the present form of 거두다. And by combining with 가다, auxiliary verb, we learned that when 가다 is used as an auxiliary verb, it means that action is taking place away from the speaker or the listener, right? So it means to take away. 걷어가다, take away. So I want to take away 그대의 슬픔과 아픔. So 그대 is a poetic way to say you. It's a very poetic way to say you. So it's best not to use it in real life. If you call someone 그대, it sounds like you're making a joke, or it sounds like you're being too poetic to that person. So it's only used in poems or lyrics. So 그대의, it's a possessive particle, right? So your 슬픔, 아픔. Do you guys remember this? I mentioned it briefly earlier, that when you put 미음 or after a verb stem or adjective stem, it becomes a noun. It becomes a noun, right? And 슬픔 and 아픔 here is how this works. It's the result of this. So you guys remember what 슬프다 means, right? 슬프다. Oh, there's not enough ink in this pen. Let me use this one instead. Okay. 슬프다 means to be sad, right? And by putting 미음 받침 after a stem, becomes a meaning of sadness. And 아프다 means to be sick or to hurt, right? And by putting 미음 받침, becomes a noun that means pain. So 슬픔 and 아픔, not all verbs work this way, but some verbs can be changed into a noun by following this rule, right? So your sadness and pain, I want to take away. I want to take away your sadness and pain. And the last two stanzas, right? You only have the last two parts. So 나도 모든 게 다 두려웠다고 말하면 믿어줄래? 나도 모든 게 다 두려웠다고 말하면 믿어줄래? Actually, there needs to be a question mark. 믿어줄래? 믿어주다 combined with 리을래? It's a future tense, right? Oh, okay, let me aim it better. Future tense, right? So will you 믿어주다? We learn is a combination of 믿다 verb combined with auxiliary 주다 verb, right? So I'm going to skip the explanation at this point. So will you believe if I 말하면, if I tell you this, 고 말하면. So do you guys remember this expression, the quotation expression, where it went like this? Noun, 라고 말하다. Noun, 라고 말하다. Or you can just say 하다. Because by 라고, you can already know that, oh, it's a quotation. Someone said this. So you can be 라고 말하다 or 라고 하다 are also fine. So it means to say the noun, right? But when you use the verb, you can just take out the stem and then end it with 다 ending. Actually, this is also the expression and grammar that needs to be dealt with in a separate lesson because there are a lot of grammar points that needs to be learned. But let me just briefly say that when you are using the verb, you can just put 다 and then 고 말하다 or 하다. It also has a meaning of, it also is a quotation expression. To say verb. So, will you believe if I say, so this ends in 다, right? Because this is, the preceding word is a verb. 두려웠다. Do you guys remember 두렵다? 두렵다 means to be afraid. And when we conjugate it in present form, it becomes 두려워. And in past form, 두려웠어. So in this expression, they took out the past stem, 두려웠, the past stem, 두려웠, and then put then put 다. Sorry, I'm not aiming it okay. Sorry. 두려웠다. 두려웠다고 하다. So 두려웠다고 말하면, if I say that I was afraid, what were you afraid? 나도 모든 게 다 두려웠다고 말하면, so 나도, 도 is a particle that means to as well. Particle of inclusion. So I as well. 모든 게. So 게 we learned is an abbreviation of 것이, right? So 모든 것이 means everything. You can also just say 모두. 모두 is also fine. 나도 모두 다 두려웠다고 말하면 믿어줄래? Will you believe if I say that I too was afraid of everything? 모든 게 다. And here, 모두 or 모든 게 and 다 is used together. They both mean everything. And isn't it redundant to put these two together because they have the same meaning? But actually, it's very common to use both of these when you want to emphasize every single thing. Everything. 모두 다. So it has more impact than just saying 모두 or just 다. So 모두 다, everything. I was afraid of everything. If I say that, will you believe? So what were you afraid of? Oh, Tori, thank you for the gift. what were they afraid of? 모든 진심들이 and 남은 시간들이. Actually, these two, to write it in a absolutely correct grammatical sentence, should be placed before 두려웠다. Before 두려웠다. Because when you say 두려웠다, when you want to say you were afraid of something, you can go with the subject marking particles. So when you say noun 이 or noun 가 두렵다, it means you are afraid of noun. So in a perfectly grammatically correct sentence, these phrases should be placed here before 두려웠다, right? So 모든 진심들이 남은 시간들이 everything. Oh, actually. Doesn't matter. I'm sorry, guys. So I'm being too serious with this lyrics. So these are lyrics, right? So to a certain extent, they can't ignore the grammar and they can't ignore the sentence order. So just ignore what I just said. Ignore what I just said. Actually, it's more natural to put it after this sentence. So it's not important, guys. It's not important. So 모든 진심들이 every. So 모두 means everything, whereas 모든 is a modifier that means every or all. So 모든 진심들, 진심 appeared again. Do you guys remember? 진심 appeared in the first part of the lyrics. 진심, true feeling, right? True feeling, my truth. Every truth. And by putting tul, it makes it into a plural form, right? So every truth and 남은 시간들이 So 남다. Do you guys remember what 남다 means? It means to remain. And it's a verb. And we learned how to change a verb into a past modifier when you're not using 던 suffix. Do you remember? You either put 니은 받침 or 은, right? But since 남 has 받침, you can go with 은, right? So 남은 means that remained, since it's a past form, right? So 시간들, times that remained. So they're talking about the times that remained back then, right? So I was afraid of everything, including all my truth and all my, Aman, thank you so much for the gift again. The times that remained. I was afraid of everything, right? And wow, we made it to the last part. Okay, so for this sentence, this is the subject and this is a verb. And do you see the particle a? And a particle follows 있어 for the reason we learned in our particle lesson. Do you guys remember? So 에 and 에서 can both be a place marking particle, right? But 에 is used when the following verb indicates the existence of something, right? Existence of something. And 있다, we learned, means to be there or to have, right? So it definitely indicates the existence of something. So instead of 에서 particle, we go with a particle to mark the time. To mark the place, right? So 너의 모든 해답은 thank you, Nameless, for now. Thank you so much. Thank you. I don't want to learn. Thank you. So 너의 모든 해답은 your 모든, we learn, means a modifier that means all, right? Or every. So your every 해답. So 답 means reply or response. And 해답 means an answer. answer. And it's different from answer to emails or answer to text messages, but 해답 is more like answer as in solution. So 해답 means answer, more in the context of solution, not like replying back to someone. If you want to say you reply back to someone, you can say 답장. But when you mean answer as in solution, you can say 해답. So all of your solution is at where? This place, and also this place, right? There are 3 place marking particles, so we can know that they are all they're all listed, right? So 네가 찾아낸 이곳에. So your answer lies in this place. 이곳. But what is this place? 네가 찾아낸 이곳에. We can find another auxiliary verb here. 네가 찾아낸 이곳에. 네가 찾아낸 이곳. So we know that 이곳 means this place. And here you can see that 네가 is used, right? We learned that the proper form is 네 with 에 vowel, right? So this is the grammatically correct form to say you, but we sometimes say 네가 just with e vowel when we are just too lazy, or this is how it's pronounced, right? So we normally say this in our text messages or even in lyrics too. So it's not necessarily grammatically wrong because we do write it like this anyways, right? So I just want to let you know that this spelling is the correct form for you. 네가 찾아낸 이곳. So, Kayleen, yes, thank you for the clarification. 네가 / 너가 can be replaced with 네가 in informal situation. But when you're writing an essay like university application or job application, you have to be grammatically correct, right? So you have to use this form and not 네가. You, 찾아내다. Do you guys remember? 내다, auxiliary verb. 찾아, we learn means to find. 찾아내다. Do you guys remember? It would really make me happy if even just one of you writes the correct answer in the comment section or in the live chat section. 내다. We learned it in our last lyrics lesson, BLACKPINK, You Never Know, this auxiliary verb. I'll give you guys more time. I think you guys are typing. Till the end. I got till the end. To the very end. Find out. To go away from. Oh, okay. So it seems that you guys. So I can see that to the very end. I can understand where you're coming from because 찾아내다 actually, yes, it does imply the completeness of the action. And it also implies, this is the most important part, it also implies that doing that verb was a difficult or a challenging task. So 찾아내다 means you found out, but a more nuanced and correct translation would be you managed to find out. Because finding out this place is a very difficult and challenging job, but you managed to do it. It implies that. So 네가 찾아낸 이곳에, and with 찾아내다, with the stem, 니은 받침 is added. Do you remember what it does to the verb? When you combine 니은 받침 or 은 with the verb, it becomes a past tense modifier, right? Past tense. So 찾아낸 이곳 means this place that you managed because it's in past form, right? Managed to find out. So the answer is in this place. I'm guessing this place means magic shop, right? This place that you managed to find out. And also in your 너의 은하수에. I think BTS really likes to use this word 은하수. And it's a beautiful word. It means galaxy. 은하수, galaxy. It's in your galaxy. And 너의 마음 속에 있어. Your 마음 속에 있어. We know this word. I'm sure you know this word because every word that we learned here in this lesson are included in this phrase. 너의 마음 속에 있어. What does this mean? So 속, yes, means inside. So 너의 마음 속에 있어 means yes, it's in your heart. It's inside your heart. So your every answer is in this place that you managed to find out, and in your galaxy and inside your heart is the meaning of the last verse in this song's lyrics. And so now we're done. Yay! I thought it would take like roughly 2 hours, but it's only been like less than 1.5 hours. So I'm glad that it didn't take that long, although it's still long. But thank you so much, guys, for joining. And as I promised, I will give 5 minutes to answer some of the questions that you have, preferably the questions that are related to this lesson. But yes, so please ask away the questions that you have. If you don't have questions, you're always feel free to leave this lesson, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Okay? So yes, I will give you 5 minutes time to ask away. Then what is 우주? 우주 means universe. 우주 means universe. And 은하수 means galaxy. 힘들어. Yes, I understand you're 힘들어. I'm also 힘들어. Oh, Tori, thank you so much for the gift. Thank you very, very much. It means a lot. And okay, let me check the questions that you have. Can you go over becoming a noun again? Oh, so I mentioned this earlier. So the noun, the grammar where a verb becomes noun, I actually have a separate lesson on this, a 2-hour-long lesson. It's something that cannot be explained in just a few minutes. So I actually linked it in the description box. So if you haven't really got the hang of how to do it, then you can check that lesson out. Like I said, I linked it in the description box, so you can find the lesson there. I hope this answered Anna. I mean, Emna. Sorry, Emna. That's your name, right? And can you do a 17 song next time? I will consider it. This is not a promise, but I will, because I don't want to make an empty promise, right? But I will definitely look into their songs. Do you feel amazing now? I'm feeling better with all the work. Oh, yes, I feel so amazing, of course, because, I'm with you guys. You guys are learning with me. And yes, I feel amazing. Thanks for asking. And I am glad that you feel the same way too. Korean vocabulary or meaning of words. Yes, I will make sure to make more lessons on Korean vocabularies. I get difficult for there's consonant assimilation. Oh, okay. So consonant assimilation is what a lot of beginning learners find assimilation, right? Find very difficult. And I'm actually planning to do another video, an upgraded video on this, because last time it was kind of like too long, right? So it might be not too fun to follow. So I am working on it. Thanks for asking. And 끝까지 해낼 거예요. 끝까지 해낼 거예요. That's a perfect sentence. Yes. 아니야, ending only for question. Ending sentence. Oh, 이냐. Yes, this is mostly a question. You can also use it when you're being sarcastic, like you're not really asking a question, but you are asking questions to be sarcastic, right? So yes, but it's mostly used as an ending for questions. And okay, Venus, thank you for heartfelt advice. And 내 자신이 I just want to thank you for your hard work, your major talent. Oh, thank you so much. So I will answer Mary's question, and then I will really end this lesson. So Mary asked 내 자신이, how to use it. Okay, so in English, you say myself or yourself or like ourselves. You use this word when the subject and the object of the sentence is the same, right? So when you mean when you say I love me is actually not a grammatically correct form, right? You say I love myself. And when you say you love you have to say you love yourself, right? And also when you say she, it has to be, you have to use the corresponding form herself, right? So when the when the subject and the object is the same, that's when you go with this word self, right? And in Korean, it doesn't work that way. You can say 나는 나를 사랑해. 나는 나를 사랑해. Even if the subject and the object is the same, you don't have to change the form of the object. You can just say it like this. 나는 나를 사랑해. However, you can also say 나는 내 자신을 사랑해. 나는 내 자신을 사랑해. To mean myself. So that is okay, and 내 자신 is also okay. They both mean myself because they're in the context of I like me, right? I like myself. And when you say 너 자신, it means yourself. So 자신 is a word that means oneself. It corresponds to oneself. And when you say 내 자신 or 나 자신, it means myself. And 너 자신, it means yourself. And if you just want to use 자신, that's also fine too in the context where you mean herself or yourselves or himself. So an object that is not I or you, but object that is she or him or the plural form, you can just say 자신. So when you say Sally is a girl's name. 셀리는 자신을 사랑해요. 자신을 사랑해요. 셀리 자신을 사랑해요. Sally loves herself. You don't have to place 그녀 자신 because like we learned, 그녀 is not really used often, but you can just go with 자신, this word alone, when in the context where you mean herself or himself as well. And you can also say 자신을 사랑하세요. 자신을 사랑하세요. It means please love yourself. And 자신 is used instead of 너 자신 because in this context, 자신 is used to mean yourselves. It's plural form, right? Because the speaker is addressing to the larger audience, not the specific person. So in this case, you can just go with 자신. But when you mean myself, you can say 내 자신 or yourself, you, specific you, one person you can say 너 자신. So that's all I have for 자신 usage today. So Mary, does this make sense? Does this make sense? So I've been getting more questions in the meantime. And I hope I could answer everything, but I'm sorry I can't. And I have to end this lesson for now. But I hope this helped, Mary. Oh, okay, so Mary got it. Okay, that makes me happy. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, once again for joining, and I will see you in the next lesson. So thank you again for joining. 정말 감사합니다, 여러분. 그리고 좋은 하루 되세요. 좋은 하루 되세요. Have a good day. Have a good day. Bye. 선생님에게 약속해요. Okay, you promise me you will make it till the end. Okay, so bye. I'm gonna press the end button now here. Okay.